Hi, welcome to Jesus on the Fly. We're here today to talk about, every Thursday at noon, Jesus' words and actions in the Gospels. Our dog, our smallest dog, Aunt Elliot, is joining us today.
Decided to join us on Jesus.
It's very much on the fly again.
she may lick us at any point.
Right.
Sorry
okay.
about that.
There, she's ready. Okay. Let's see. So today we're going to talk about Jesus and a couple of fishermen. So Matthew 4 verses 18 through 22. Do you want to read it, Dave?
Well, I would as soon as I find it.
Matthew
4?
Yeah. Okay, 18. He's got it. Phone Bible.
Boom.
Right at you.
Quick.
18 through 22.
I'm sorry, I am old, and so I must put on my glasses.
Awesome.
All right.
Here we go.
Alrighty. While walking by the Sea of Galilee, he saw two brothers, Simon, who is called Peter, and Andrew, his brother, casting a net into the sea, for they were fishermen. And he said to them, Follow me, and I will make you fishers of men. Immediately they left their nets and followed him. And going on from there, he saw two other brothers, James, the son of Zebedee, and John, his brother, in the boat with Zebedee, their father, mending their nets. And he called them. Immediately they left the boat and their father and followed him.
Awesome.
All right.
Okay, what sticks out to you when you read that?
Well, I think it's really funny, like that word immediately, like instantly they follow Jesus. And I think, the reason why, I was thinking about this a little bit, just even like 10 minutes before we started, is that there's this kind of immediate thing that happens. Like, it's like I don't think this happened. Like, we are robots, we will follow Jesus because he said so. I think it was like this kind of like deep feeling of like surrender. Like,
ooh,
yes.
Surrender's a good word.
Like, I need to surrender my life to this, whatever this is,
in reading it this time, I feel like I've been in Bible studies before where you talk about that word immediately. Immediately, these disciples, these two fishermen, just random guys, right? Jesus picks them and they immediately start following him. And I know we've talked about it before, but the thing that comes to mind for me is like how much that has to be the Holy Spirit. Like, because when in life have you ever seen someone who's just like, okay, that sounds great. I'll just follow God with my whole life and you know what I mean? Like, give up everything and
right.
And did they understand at the time it's everything and for eternity and the impact?
Yeah, right.
It's
they probably didn't quite realize what they were getting into. But well, I have the slight advantage in that I read the parallel passage to Luke chapter 5, which is what I'm preaching on this Sunday.
Oh, you cheated for Jesus.
I didn't really cheat. It just happened.
Okay.
So
still
I wasn't preparing for this moment. And I believe that if the parallel passages match up, that Jesus probably just did the miracle of filling their nets with fish. Oh. And so there's a lot more behind the story that Matthew is not mentioning. But it's interesting that he doesn't mention that. Mm-hmm. Like, he doesn't mention the miracles. He just mentions, like, the fact that Jesus called them and they went.
Yeah.
And mm-hmm. I think there was a miracle that would have been taking place right before this. And then the fact that they're mending their nets is probably because the nets were breaking from all the fish.
Whoa.
So
that's interesting.
That's why. And there's two boats in the story of Luke chapter 5. I hate to do this with the other books of the Bible, but sometimes it's, I think, probably the best thing to do. Like, there was the boat that Simon Peter was on, and then there was the other boat, and they had so much fish that they had to be like, dude, we need another boat. So they got the other boat. So that's why there's another boat, and that's why they have the nets that are breaking also, because they just couldn't get all the fish, and it was breaking the nets, and the whole thing was like this big overflow thing of fish. And it makes a way more sense to when you think about, I'm going to make you fishers of men. That doesn't just mean like they're sitting there fishing and he's like, I'm going to make you fishers of men. It's like, boom, I just did a miracle and you're going to be not only fishers of men, but you're going to be fishers of a boatload of men.
Ooh.
Literally.
A boatload of men.
Yeah.
I think that also shows for us like the purpose of miracles, like a little more clearly, like to, glorify God, but also to make disciples, to teach. And so like instead of like miracles just as if they come out of nowhere and God like surreptitiously just chooses like, oh, let's have a miracle today. Like instead, he's very purposeful. Like, here's a miracle so that people come to me, so that people become, in this instance, my leaders for what I have ahead. There's always discipleship, connected to miracles. Otherwise, what's the point? God doesn't do miracles for the moment. He does them for eternity, for a purpose. You're kind of off screen.
Oops. Sorry about that. I wanted to make sure our dog got some good screen time.
So, did you have more thoughts on this? It's a real small passage.
There's the other thing that I think is really key is that there's the father, right? And they leave Zebedee. It's like, Dad, sorry, we're leaving the fishing business. See you later.
That had to be, I don't know. Did it go well? Did it not? We don't know.
And,
really.
Yeah. And I think it sounds like probably Zebedee was a pretty cool guy, and he was like, all right, you guys have helped me fishing, and I don't expect you to do that for the rest of your lives, kind of like if you're in the family family farm.
Isn't that a lot of assumption, Pastor Dave?
It is. Okay, so,
Zebedee
I'm just
could have
thinking,
been like,
it's true.
Too,
Total speculation. Sorry about that.
Yeah, it's okay. Speculation's fun.
But, I mean, either whether it was a struggle or not, you recognize the difficulty in leaving your family. That's what it all boils down to, is that following Jesus means sometimes leaving your family, not like you never want to see them again, but you understand the importance of following Jesus when you're an adult, not like when you're a kid.
But at the same time, like, I think this points out something hard, because leaving your family to follow Jesus means a lot of different things for a lot of different people. And I think about the amount of people I have conversations with now that are like, I can't talk about anything political with my family or spiritual because it's just ugly. And I think to some degree that is an area that this applies to, like leaving your family to follow Jesus, not never having a conversation with them, or avoiding those relationships, or even avoiding spiritual conversations when it's hard, but understanding that that is not the relationship that's going to define who you are, what you're going to talk about. Like, their role in your life changes a lot in order to put God first and take his opinions, his ideas, his words in above what your family might say to you. And that's difficult for people. I mean, whole life we've been following our family.
It's super hard. So
and then there's other layers of that. I think obviously in church work you kind of give up following your family. Obviously geographically so often. But sometimes even like, I think of teens that like their parents aren't real faithful followers. Sometimes God calls them out to be the faithful follower and to like get themselves ready for church. And that's hard. You have to have a certain amount of respect for those kids and encourage them and build them up. And the church is our actual family at the end of the day. That's God's message, I think, so often in the Bible. And that's a hard one in our culture. It's a hard one. We're almost out of time this morning, but keep going.
I wonder if there's a different way of thinking about it besides priorities, because sometimes we kind of break things down in priorities. Like, well, there's like following Jesus, then there's like my family underneath that, or maybe some people have it the other way around. Which, if you think about priorities, that's not right. But if you did, like, if there's it's Jesus on the fly, so I can't think of anything right now. But, like, think to yourself, is there another way of looking at my life so that it's not just broken up into this, like, priority thing?
Necessarily.
And think about it, like, in
it's kind of like
the
a
dynamics
web. In therapy, we use webs.
Yeah.
Like, here's all my relationships in a web, and, like, what weight do I give them? What is the flow in and out of them as far as, like, ideas and
like more like a web rather than a like in order kind of thing.
And maybe for us, God is always the center of that web.
Kind of a web like a net.
Oh, that's good. Ooh, that's a good thing to leave on, right? That He's still
right.
fishing. You know, he's still fishing for us, you know, and he's still calling us to go fish for those people. And he will break the nets. Like, that's kind of a cool promise, I feel like. Thanks for bringing that in.
Mm-hmm.
All right, you didn't cheat, but thanks. That was really helpful
Yeah, I know.
today.
But, you know, what are you going to do?
Tune in on Sunday for Pastor Dave's sermon, which you can find at
Blown
Christ
Away
Lutheran.
by Jesus.
Blown
That's
Away.
the sermon series.
Torn Away Nets by Jesus also.
That
Okay,
might be part of it.
Yeah, awesome. All right, thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.